Pinky Cross. Hi, my name is Anna and I'm a singer.
Hi, my name is Peyton and I am a dancer.
And today, what are we doing today?
Today, we are back with another comeback reaction to a group we have never reacted to on this channel before, WeI.
So today, WeI is back with their first comeback. It's called All or Nothing Mo Anin To, and it was actually produced by their leader. Also, although we've never reacted to them before, we have seen their debut. Just letting y'all know now.
Let's go.
Okay. Oh, well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
Ooh.
Oh, the like drill synth. Oh, I just noticed the head of the statue.
Oh, really?
Oh. Oh. That instrument earlier. I'll talk about it later. Cut it in half. Oh, what was that?
I knew this was going to be so dramatic.
I mean,
I was
yeah,
so ready for it.
You could tell by
so
like
the
intense music of the teasers, just like from the whoa. Oh. It's going more. Okay. Oh.
I get it.
Oh.
I get it. Just a few things that stood out to me in the dance, specifically from the music video, because I did just watch the showcase stage as well. The first thing is actually right at the very beginning, when I think someone whispers like, "We are so dangerous," or something like that. It's not the whisper part. I mean, that stood out for a different reason. But oh my gosh, what is up with all these people having such great turnout? Kim Yo-han has such great turnout in that moment because they're all sitting there and then they open their legs to second position on that like, "We are so dangerous" part, which is just stood out for different reasons again. But it was just so pretty. I was like, oh my gosh, he's rotating from his hips. He's got such good turnout. And like honestly thinking about his background in like Taekwondo, that makes a lot of sense to me, but I was still like, something else that really stood out to me is the build-up in the pre-chorus, because it's not uncommon in pre-choruses for dancing to get progressively faster as the build-up is happening into that like drop in the chorus. But I thought how they did it was really interesting, and it really stood out to me because it's not just that their movement's getting faster, it's that they're actually like doing the build-up in the bass with their bodies. There's a point where they drop over and then their shoulders are like pumping, and the amount that they're moving their shoulders is getting bigger and faster, and their bodies are coming up, and then they all drop into like the first move in the chorus. Dance is always a visible representation of music, or like a visible interpretation of music, but this time I really felt like I was watching like the sound waves in their bodies. That's the impression that it was giving. And then the other thing that really stood out to me were there were several really interesting like release moments, and they weren't necessarily on moments of silence, but there's a lot of times in the dance where in between like the hit of percussion, they'll do some sort of like jump or like slide or something that is a little bit more free. And so it kind of gives this moment of like release, and then they'll go immediately into something that's a little bit harder, a little bit sharper. The very beginning when Johan jumps forward, or at the very beginning of one of Daehyeon's raps, he does this too. And then there's several slides in the dance, and it just another interesting representation of like the all or nothing feeling. And then just a little bit about the music video really quick. So I really liked the huge contrast and decorations, because I thought that was a really interesting way to portray the meaning of like all or nothing, because there were the sets with like the flowers, and there were the sets with like the guns, knives, something stuck in the wall, or there was like the fire, or at one point there was a banquet hall. So it really was like all or nothing. My favorite shot, this is gonna be so weird, my favorite shot in the whole music video was a one specific moment where it looked like you were going through the head of a microphone, and then it opened up and it showed Yongha sitting there with like all the chords, like he'd been inside the microphone, and I just thought that was really cool for some reason. And then my last comment, it's kind of just a throwaway comment, but I have to say it because I know I said this out loud in the middle of the reaction. I don't think I ever have the reaction to these rookie groups that they're like wanting me to have, because they are being cool and they're portraying the character really well. But I like remember a specific moment where they were showing Seokwa, and I said out loud, I was like, cute. Because I was like, oh, he's so cute. And it was not like oh, he's cute. It was like, oh, I'm so affectionate. So anyways, great job, Weai, Anna's turn.
Yeah, so like we said in the reaction, this is, as expected from the teasers, a super intense song. Right from the start is really intense, because it like starts with like a really heavy bass, and it's like, it does a beat divide, like you're building up for a chorus drop. The intro is like part of the chorus, but then all of a sudden there's like the sudden silence, and then the whisper part, like silence and music makes you lean in closer, and then they do the whisper thing, so like you're like, oh. And I know that I pulled a face, and like how Peyton has to clarify her cute, I have to clarify my thing. Like, I get they are attractive people, but you guys know how I feel about whispering in songs. Anyways, yeah, the song is very synth heavy, and it's like very techno synths, but not like the bright ones that are like lighthearted. It feels very grounded, but it does have like a complete vibe change up for the pre-choruses, but then it immediately goes back to being like hard and intense for the chorus. To address one of my comments in the reaction, I was like, oh, what is that instrument they just used? I was talking about the second verse. It's a synth, but it sounds like a sitar. I feel like I have not heard that as much lately, so I was just like, oh, that's what? That's interesting. But it's like still keeping the theme from the first verse, but it's like change in instrumentation, which is a good way to like make it more interesting when you're like repeating a section. Because a lot of times in K-pop lately, one way they change the second verse is like they'll do the first half is a rap section, and then it becomes like more melodic, but they didn't do that, because instead the rap section is part of the bridge, which like is also interesting to me, because it kind of felt like there were two bridges, because like the first one is like the melodic vocal section, but then immediately after that, I don't want to even call it second half of the bridge. Bridge 2 is like the intense rap section, because also like at the end of the melodic part there's like the really high note that happens, and that will usually signify like, oh, we're going into the final chorus, but no, it goes into the intense rap section. Although that is when in the music video they start doing like the fire shots. And then lastly, the end of the song where I was like, oh my gosh, it's still going, is because like it was very high intensity. So I was like, oh, they'll probably end the song soon. but they didn't. Instead, they like pushed even further and drove even further because they added the really punchy bass playing on every single beat, and then the song abruptly ends with like 3 bass hits. So overall, like, it's supposed to be very intense and overwhelming, and that's what I felt.
TLDR is Daehyeon is back with their first comeback. Congratulations! And their leader Daehyeon produced the song All or Nothing Mo Anim Do, and it was intense and it really did everything that it was meant to do.
But anyways, that being said, if you enjoyed this reaction and also have been feeling really overwhelmed by WeI's really intense comeback, then please leave a like, comment, subscribe,
Ding!
turn on your notification bell.
We're so dangerous.
Oh my god. And bye!